Getting in shape is difficult. It requires hard work, the right attitude, and most importantly, consistency. All things that are made much more difficult when travelling or on holiday. Constantly moving hostels or hotels, and worst of all you can eat buffets. My nemesis. When I left the UK 8 months ago to travel, not only did I leave my family, my friends and my home behind, but I left my gym, my running routes and my established routine behind too. When away from home, you often have a busy itinerary, no place to prepare your own food, and often an intense desire to eat your own body weight in pasta or pastries. All things that are potentially barriers to you staying in shape, or banana slips where you could be regressing on your long-term fitness goals. But after these last few months of travelling, I've managed to find a balance between enjoying myself and making the most of my time away, whilst also working out and maintaining some form of consistency. And I'm the fittest I've been in years, because of travelling, not despite it. So follow along to see how I've managed to find this balance, and whether or not any of these tips could help you too. First of all, a little disclaimer about what this video is not. I'm not here to tell you that you should spend all of your hard-earned holiday thinking obsessively about your caloric intake or working out. And I'm not here to promote a strict monastic routine where indulgence is forbidden. I've never been that person nor wanted to be that person. I am fully invested into the idea that there's a time and a place to eat your own body weight in pasta or pastries. I'm just here to share my experiences of how finding a balance between rest and relaxation and exercise and routine has led to further enjoyment of my travels, me feeling more energised, whilst also not sacrificing my hard-earned fitness and muscle mass. I've also found out some slightly less conventional benefits to running, in particular when away from home, so make sure to keep watching to find out what they are. So, a bit about myself. I've gone from working a full-time job in a different country as a doctor in a busy emergency department to now, full-time in employment. I finished my job on the 16th of July, and since then I've been skiing, swimming, exploring, eating, sweating and enjoying myself, free of the storm cloud of full-time employment hanging over my head. A dream, I know. So how have I managed to not only stay in shape, but also make strides towards improving my weekly running mileage and my 5k PB? Well, the first thing that I can point to is making exercise part of my routine. And here's why you should too. Initially when I started travelling, I thought I'd easily fit in a run when there was a natural break in the day, when we just got off of a long bus journey, after a day of skiing, or during an afternoon trip to the beach. But what I found out is that there's never really a convenient gap in the middle of the day. For me, I've swung between being in the southern hemisphere with long nights and short days to now being in the northern hemisphere in the tropics in Vietnam with blisteringly hot and sweaty days which go on and on and on. We've literally had to escape to the mountain town of Dalat just to get the temperature below 30 degrees. Whenever I've thought of maybe fitting in a run in the afternoon, after a day of skiing or after a trip to the local town, I've either been shattered after a busy day, or in the case of Vietnam, it's 35 degrees and 90% humidity, and I probably collapsed 500 meters into any run that I started. The best thing that I learned was that making exercise a non-negotiable part of my routine was the difference between me working out and not. When I run, I do it first thing, early morning. After sunrise, but before breakfast. Like this morning's run. It's not spontaneous. I planned it from the previous night. My alarm was set, and I'm up and out. And I found that this has a few benefits. You're not inconveniencing anyone else in your party. They're usually still in bed. If you're in a hot country, it's usually the coolest part of the day. And once you finish with your run, you got the whole day to do whatever you want. And that's really the priority. You're traveling to spend time in a new place. And if you want to work out, well, it shouldn't be at the expense of this. My next point follows on from this one, and it's all about embracing the positives of exercise. I used to view exercise, particularly cardiovascular exercise, as a necessary evil. The only reason that I used to run was to prevent weight gain and to stop my rugby coach from shouting at me. But the more I've done it, the more I've enjoyed it. First of all, running is honestly a cheat code when you're traveling. This might seem blatantly obvious to anyone that's ran for a long period of time, but when you're away from home, running's like a way to fast-track exploring a new area. I love travelling, but I have a limited budget and limited time to do so. So often I'm only stopping off at a stunning location for a night or two. So having the ability to run a 10k around the Kaikoura Peninsula before our checkout time of 10 AM was just brilliant. We wouldn't have had time to walk it because we were heading off late that day. Or spinning around the centre of Hanoi whilst it was still just about bearable was a lifesaver. And it meant that we saw aspects of the city that just wouldn't have been possible if we were to sit in an air-conditioned cafe all day, which we proceeded to do after the run. And secondly, exercising whilst travelling has given me a level of energy that I've never had before. My childhood experiences of holidays were laying by the pool for 1 or 2 weeks at a time, in the sun, chinning Fanta Lemon and gobbling up crisps like there's no tomorrow. And I was very lucky to have these holidays, and I enjoyed them greatly. But unfortunately, I don't have the metabolism of a 13-year-old boy anymore. But also, have you ever had that feeling on a holiday where no matter how much you sleep, you're always tired? Something about sitting in the sun all day and relaxing can be so exhausting. But just by continuing to move when abroad, and making it part of my routine, my energy levels have stayed high and I've been able to make the most of the rest of the day. And finally, exercising and running whilst travelling has given me the freedom to immerse myself in the local cuisine and largely eat what I want. Within reason, of course. I'm a foodie through and through. I enjoy food. I don't just treat it like fuel like a lot of other YouTube fitness creators. Eating is a hobby and a way of life for me, and a crucial part of exploring a new country or culture. While upping my mileage and maintaining this, whilst also integrating some weightlifting and HIIT workouts whilst travelling, well, it simply burn more calories and allow me to consume more food. It just so happens that the food in question this time around is tasty beef noodles or prawn spring rolls. Holiday and travel is a time to immerse yourself in the local cuisine, not just stick to the old faithful chicken and rice. That being said, I am currently sat in an Italian restaurant in Vietnam. But we've been here for 3 weeks, so give me a break. I've never counted my calories, and I don't intend to start doing so anytime soon. And I'm not trying to advocate running as a way to eat garbage all of the time, but it certainly does give you more freedom with what you can eat. This leads me on to my next point. Because travelling breaks your normal daily cycle or routine, it's easy to open your 3rd share pack of crisps for the day, or start your 4th beer before midday for the who knows what day in a row. Something that you would have never done at home. At least, not since your university days. That's if your university experience was anything like mine. But instead of treating your holiday or time travelling as one big inevitable blowout where you drop all senses of normal healthy eating practices, I found it better to have cheat meals rather than cheat days or cheat weeks or months or holidays. I might have a main meal with a few sides and a dessert in the evening, but leading up to that, I've probably eaten pretty clean with a healthy lunch and a modest breakfast. Like this morning. It's all a mindset, and it's easy to let yourself slip into the headspace where you throw all sense of a normal routine up in the air just because you're on holiday. What I found is that my energy levels drop, and I feel rubbish if I have extended periods of eating total garbage. And it doesn't do a lot for my training either. Trying to maintain a normal eating routine for at least most of the day helps to limit the damage. One of the early lessons that I learned when I started on my fitness journey was that as a general rule of thumb, everything in moderation is a good way to live your life. Don't go too hard with your training from the outset. Don't have too many late nights or rubbish sleeps in a row. And certainly don't have 10 pain au chocolats at the unlimited breakfast buffet just because you can. Speaking from experience. And final point, I've been travelling and away from home and my normal routine for months now. I'm in a position where without this routine and slightly stricter approach to how I manage my diet and my training, I would better resemble the Michelin Man rather than a fitness YouTuber whose video you clicked on. Albeit you may have done so accidentally, but if you're still watching to this point, if you could like and consider subscribing to my channel, it would really help me out. But anyway, if you've got a long weekend away planned or a week abroad, obviously you don't need to be as strict or follow all of these tips. Take this advice and tailor it to what works for you in your time away. Most people don't dive into unemployment and spend months away from home like I'm doing. It's taken me months to develop this routine and balance, and it was made up of lots of small decisions, aggregating to make this one big difference. Prioritise enjoying yourself and unwinding. Run if it makes you happy. Go to the gym if you think you'll enjoy it. But don't worry too much about the monastic train or die approach. Most 1-week holidays are not going to leave you irreversibly damaged as a result of your diet or lifestyle. The obvious exception being lads' holidays away to Zante, which has almost certainly taken years off of my life. But apart from that one specific example, you'll probably be okay. A week of lighter training, or a week completely off of training, can often be beneficial in the long run. It's called a deload, but don't take my word for it. Google it. Because if it's on Google, it must be true. Anyway, my run's out of the way, so I'm off to spend the rest of the day doing whatever I want, really. So I'll see you next time.